So this guy is going to pretend to be a serial killer just so he can get access to drugs. Now, the guy's name is Sture, and when the story begins, Sture is about 40 years old, living in Sweden. But here's the thing about Sture. He really, really loves amphetamines. And that kind of habit, it's expensive. He doesn't have much money, so in 1990, he comes up with a plan. He's going to rob a bank. And for some reason, he decides to do it dressed as Santa Claus. So he walks into a local bank in a terrible Santa disguise, so bad that the clerk instantly recognizes him. And just like that, he gets arrested. But instead of prison, Sture is sent to a psychiatric institution, specifically a hospital for the criminally insane. Now, at first, that might sound bad, but Sture actually starts to like it there. There are people around him, so he's not lonely, and more importantly, there are lots of prescription drugs available, especially benzodiazepines, which he really enjoys. But then, in 1991, he gets some bad news. He's about to be released, and he does not want that. So Sture starts looking around and notices something. The patients who stay longer are the ones who've committed serious, violent crimes. So he thinks, why not just say I did that too? He begins telling his psychiatrist stories about fake childhood trauma, claiming abuse, making things up, knowing she focuses heavily on repressed memories. Then one day, he drops a bomb. He claims he murdered a real person, a child who had gone missing years earlier. Now suddenly the staff and police are very interested. This is one of Sweden's most famous unsolved cases. Instead of being released, Sture gets more attention, more treatment, and a lot more drugs. Around this time, he even changes his name to Thomas Quick, but we'll still call him Sture. To keep everything going, he starts confessing to more and more murders. Week after week, therapy session after therapy, all lies. He's attaching himself to unsolved crimes he's heard about, until eventually he's confessed to so many that he's now seen as a serial killer. He becomes the hospital's star patient. The doctors love him. They think their therapy is working, solving crimes and rehabilitating a killer. And Sture? He loves the attention. He feels like a celebrity. Around this time, The Silence of the Lambs comes out, and Sture starts calling himself Sweden's Hannibal Lecter. Then he reads American Psycho, and suddenly his confessions become more detailed, more violent, talking about dismemberment, even cannibalism. The doctors hang on his every word and give him even more drugs. Meanwhile, the police are trying to make sense of his claims, but nothing adds up. No pattern, no consistency. He claims to kill men, women, children, using different weapons every time, and he often gets major details wrong. But whenever he's corrected, he just says the trauma distorted his memory. And somehow, they believe him. So this goes on for years. He even gets flown on private jets to crime scenes to reenact murders. By 2001, Sture has confessed to 39 murders and is convicted of 8. He becomes known as Sweden's most notorious serial killer, even though he's never killed anyone. But that same year, everything changes. A new clinical director arrives at the hospital and notices something shocking. Sture is being massively over-medicated. So he cuts back the drugs, and almost immediately, the confessions stop. Sture withdraws completely, refuses to cooperate, and disappears from public view. 7 years later, in 2008, a journalist named Hannes decides to investigate the case. He goes through over 50,000 pages of therapy notes, court documents, and police records, and realizes something unbelievable. There is zero evidence linking Sture to any of the murders, only his confessions, given while heavily drugged. So he visits Sture, and finally, after all those years, Sture tells the truth. He made it all up, for attention and for drugs. All 8 convictions are reviewed and overturned. And in 2014, after more than 20 years in a psychiatric institution, Sture is finally released. He changes his name back from Thomas Quick